Dear friends, we start off again, yet again, with another another walk through this thing that we're going through. I want you to imagine every day of your existence, walking into a dark room. You've been in that room before. You think you know where everything is, but you're not sure. You don't take anything for granted. You make sure the lights are off. It's dark. You don't know where it is. You think you remember where it used to be, but just be careful. Don't bump into things. Sometimes familiar places are different. They're filled with perils. And what you thought your government was 5 years ago, 10 years ago, what you thought the rules were 5 years ago, 5 months ago, change daily. This is protean. It transmogrifies. Do you hear what I'm saying? It transmogrifies. And this is what's important to understand. It's important and critical for you to grasp the idea that what is happening right now does not have any parallel. If your beloved parents or grandparents would, let's say if they've passed, which means they died. I love that past. But anyway, if they were to come here now and sit and watch TV, they would look at you and they would ask you questions. Think about what you would have to explain that happened 10 years ago, 12 years ago, 15 years ago. Think about that. Imagine explaining an iPhone to your grandparents. Imagine trying that. Imagine trying to explain, well, here's Trump and here's what happened. Explaining the vaccines and why this and masks and just bringing them up to speed. Well, what happened? Well, what's this about? Why did they say that? Well, it's a different story. What about this? So there's so much of it that would be shocking and frightening and really stultifying and terrifying. And yet you would say, you know what? Some things have not changed. In fact, some things have made a revisit, so to speak. Some things are just still beautiful. Listen carefully. Listen carefully. If you're on X, you can go to my channel there. Bookmark this. When you're feeling bad, when you're feeling negative, when you're feeling that all is lost, listen to this. God bless America. Land that I love. Stand aside and guide her. From the mountain to the ocean, white with God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America. My home, sweet home. That's what it's about. That's it. Remember that. Put all this crap away and all the anger and all of the screaming and yelling and the nonsense. That's what it's about. Remember that. Remember that. Can't say it enough, my friends. Well, do me a favor. First of all, make sure that you are subscribed to Lionel Nation. And we found out that 87% of people who are watching for reasons I don't know, This still amazes me for reasons I don't know. People are still not subscribed. I do not understand this in the least. And right now, as we go into today, we have a show for you that is going to be, oh my God, you're going to say, why didn't I know this? It's here. The information is all here, but you're not going to get it on Fox News. You're not going to get it on local news. You're not going to get it on any of the others. You're just not. And they don't want you to understand this. They don't want you to grasp this. I'm going to say this. The left-right paradigm, two sides of the same coin. It's an illusion. They are both doing everything in their power to obscure and defeat the truth. And what they're also doing, my friends, which is more frightening than anything else, this controlled opposition business, we understand it exactly. Now, for those individuals right now as we speak who are freaking out and absolutely drowning in debt. And by the way, I want you to notice this when I play this important message for you, you're going to see people pop up in the section, the comment section, bragging on their own financial wherewithal, their own success, their own ability to pay off debt, to have zero credit card debt. You're going to see this. It's the most incredible thing in the world. Watch this. Listen very carefully to this, but also watch the number of people who say, well, I don't need that. I don't have to worry about that. I don't have that. Which is even more fascinating than sometimes the issue. Why do people do this? I don't know. But watch carefully. Listen to this very important message, but count the number of people who are braggadocious and refer the message back to themselves. Watch. Listen to this. New reports reveal that the average person has $8,674 in credit card debt. Plus, the total average consumer debt is a shocking $104,215 between mortgages, auto loans, student loans, credit cards, and unsecured loans. Unfortunately, without outside assistance, many will continue digging themselves deeper and deeper into the hole of debt. Now, I've advised and counseled friends and clients for years who want to take back control of individual debt about this secret weapon that has helped so many consolidate everything owed into one affordable monthly payment. They even helped negotiate a settlement agreement that will allow you to pay less than the total balance. Listen, they settled over $275 million in debt, and they've helped people become debt-free in an average of 28 months. I've had such an incredible experience referring clients and friends that I wanted to partner with them here and introduce their services to you, my loyal Lionel Nation family. If you want a helping hand to get out of debt, I absolutely, positively, and strenuously recommend booking a free consultation now by going to nodebtwithlionel.com. Look at the address. Once again, that's nodebtwithlionel.com. Use the link I've provided under the title. Listen to me. You can take control and learn how to get out of debt now. Okay, my friends. See what I mean? It's interesting. Now, I want to bring you up to a couple of stories here. And this is the most interesting today. The most interesting about where we are headed. And much of what I love to do is to say, okay, here's what's important today. And this is what you need to see. And I cannot tell you enough how one of the goals that we have, up to and including, I should say, the government waste and government whatever. But we we have to get rid of the media. The media, think of it as a form of education. What your kids learn and what your kids don't learn are absolutely critical. What people don't know right now, last night we had one of the best shows ever. There was a piece which I have said, please follow this, my Twitter piece, because my Twitter channel or whatever it's called, Twitter account at Lionel Media, at Lionel Media. But I went through this and I point out some things that sometimes are funny. Twitter and YouTube, I'm sorry, X and YouTube are absolutely fascinating. If I want to know what is going on regarding Russia, I go to Judge Napolitano, I go to Jeffrey Sachs, I go to John Mearsheimer, I go to McDonald. I don't go to Fox News. I never go to Fox News. Never go to Fox News. Never, 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 never. It is no shite obvious, low hanging fruit. I'm telling you something. Remember, if you have children, the biggest worry you have is not the media or music, but your children's friends, the people your kids hang around with are the most dangerous people in the world. So if you're, and same thing for news, if you fall into this Hannity, and by the way, I don't mean to say him, but it kind of connects you. He's okay, but it's not enough. It's this, it's supposedly there. It's almost there. It's like it doesn't, there's no depth. It just stops. It's like when people say, remember the old days when Kenny G, bless his heart, came along and he turned people on to jazz. And the jazz aficionados would say, well, that's not jazz. He goes, yeah, but at least it's an introduction. At least it's something. Garth Brooks came along and people say, that's not country music. Well, yeah, but at least it's an introduction. Andrea Bocelli, that's, UC Burling, that's the guy Caruso. Yeah, but at least you kind of gets you there, so to speak. It kind of brings you there. That's what, the Hannitys are in these folks. It's very, very simple. And they talk about this idyllic, Ronald Reagan and Rush Limbaugh. That's over with. That's over with. It should be called oldies. And in the world of radio, of which I know something about, nobody can tell you exactly when oldies are. How old does it have to be oldies versus classic rock? We don't know that. Don't know. Used to call it AOR and album oriented and CHR and adult contemporary and all. They have these wonderful names for it. But so Fox News is oldies, but it's new. They make they forgive me for this metaphor. I had a friend of mine whose father would introduce his son, my friend, as follows. My friend's father. What does your son do? My friend's father. He makes antiques. My son. What? My son makes antiques. You mean he fixes antiques? No, he makes antiques. What do you mean? Give him something, and in a week or 2 weeks or a month, he'll make an antique. He'll destroy it. It'll be old. It won't work. He'll destroy it. He makes antiques. So that's kind of what Fox News does. It takes a story, it pulls it desiccates all of the nutrients, all of the intrigue, all of the issues, all of the depths, all of the controversy, all of the the irony out of it. Like, well, why are we talking about this? What is going on? It destroys it, and it hands you back this packaged like a muffin you buy at the airport versus a bakery. One's fresh, the other one is processed, ready to go. It'll last 5 years. It's just, may even taste good, but it's not a muffin. And Fox News doesn't give you the news. It gives you this kind of it looks like it. It's like BT corn. BT corn is an NGO corn that expresses naturally an insecticide in it. So it looks good. Your body doesn't recognize it, though. Your body says, what is this? Can't process it. It's horrible. So understand this. Now, in no particular order, and please, I think you know me well enough. I'm just going to play things for you. Like the great AOR music stations. Remember the old days when right around the 70s, we had the best radio station I ever heard was this WQSR. Oh, you never knew what you're going to get. Brian Auger, Mel Tillis. It's whatever was great. Viktor Orban from Hungary. Viktor Orban. This is the fellow that this is what started to get our friend Tucker Carlson in trouble. Remember? And I want you to go back in time when they removed Tucker. Everything started to change. Everything started to change. When Johnny Cash, metaphor, analogy, when Johnny Cash, Willie, Waylon, Tom Paul Glazer, David Allan Coe, that's an extreme. When they told Roy Acuff and Nashville and Eddie Arnold, screw you, we're doing country our way. When Redheaded Stranger came out, I remember I was in high school and my friend introduced me to Willie Nelson. I thought, what is this? It's revolutionary. Revolutionary. Whiskey River. I mean, it was, and it was this wonderful conflation of that and Southern rock. What am I saying? When Nashville, Fox News, conventional, rejected Tucker, when Nashville rejected, or when Tucker walked away, or when Willie left Nashville, it opened up this absolute new wave of people in, ironically, to country music. And what they did was there was a wave of new people. Remember, this is what today's show is. There are new people. So many of you are here now because you're hearing things at levels and at depths which you have wanted to hear. Evan Webb says Fox News is the hen house and we need to kick it out. Yeah, not really. Just ignore it. You know what I'm saying? Just ignore it. Just don't. We're not kidding. Just please, just don't waste your time. There was an article I mentioned last night. We are looking at World War III this much. You think I'm exaggerating? When I say World War III, it's not going to be World War III. It's going to be major. Do you know what the ATACMS are? ATACMS are the Army Tactical Missile Systems that we have given to Zelensky and told Zelensky, go for it. Biden is leaving. Biden says, I'm leaving, but here, take my pen, sign whatever you want. I'm out of here. Because the commission, the committee, the group, whoever is running the show, they are responsible for what's happening. Kamala is gone. Tampon Timmy, gone. They're through. It's a ghost out. They've already cleared out their desk. They're gone. She never showed up anyway, but she's really gone right now. Interestingly enough, if you believe this, right now, and something, and I believe this to be true. 48% out of she is vastly leading all potential contenders if there were another election, Kamala, after what happened right now. And I say that very, very carefully. I say that because I don't know. A little time out before we get into this. I thought of this and I want you to hear this. Please be careful in hearing something on the internet, as it were. Let me give you an example. There was a piece I heard it was on this morning, and it was in reference to this Jacques Attali a book regarding population and depopulation. And okay, it's not true. And there was a young lady, bless her heart, who cared enough to say she was referring to this, as she was reading this quote regarding depopulation, and we start with this. Well, it's not true. But it's okay. And I would love to meet her and say, I understand what you're saying. Make sure when you learn that something that you've quoted is incorrect, just correct it and move on. No reason to shut down her account, shut her down, shut Twitter down. No. People are going to say things that never. Remember, quotations in particular are very, very dangerous. Remember what Abraham Lincoln said about the internet. He said, not everything you read on the internet is true. So there you go. All right, my friends. Now, I wanted you to hear Mr. Orban, okay? And this is the person who was introduced to many people by Mr. Carlson. His accent is a little, he speaks English better than I speak Hungarian. Listen.
Remember how Mr. George Soros published his plan.
George Soros. Let me make sure we get this. I want you to hear this. This is George Soros, and this is why they hate this guy.
I do remember how Mr. George Soros published his plan in English in a Project Syndicate publication. It was done 2015, September 26th. And he published a plan. He said that he is I'm quoting, here are the 6 components of my comprehensive plan.
Listen carefully and tell me what he is saying that doesn't make any sense to you. Listen.
Just quote 2 or 3 points of that. First is, he said very clearly, 2015, that, quoting again, EU has to accept at least 1 million asylum seekers annually.
1 million asylum seekers annually. And of course, he focuses on the EU, but of course, we're the antipodal counterpart of the EU. All right? 1 million annually. All right, proceed.
That was the first point. Second, he said, adequate financing is critical.
Now we get into, this is where he kicks in. It's brilliant, isn't it? I don't really care about the new people coming in. I'm interested in the financial structures you're going to have to put into place to allow this. See, this is an angle a lot of people miss.
And he proposed to issue long-term euro bonds.
Long-term bonds to fund the artificial and unnecessary implosion and injection and infusion of, in essence, illegals. See where this is going?
For financing the migration crisis and the migrants' social and welfare taking care when they arrive to the European Union. And another point which is very important for Hungary, which is involving the territory of Hungary directly into this program, he said that, quoting them, safe channels must be established for asylum seekers, starting with getting them from Greece and Italy to their destination countries, which means to bring them to Greece, to Hungary, and then have them to go to Austria. So don't forget that what we are speaking about is not an accidental stories, not a bulk of 10 years of accidental stories. It's a plan which is going on.
This is what they hate. Listen, it is a plan. Nobody on Fox ever would dare rub up against Rupert Murdoch, his friends. Remember, what is the biggest part, the biggest focus, the biggest aspect of the world of Murdoch? It's not Fox. Fox is nothing but the European, Fox News, Fox Sports, Fox Football, Fox Sky, this, Fox. The stuff that makes the billions of dollars. And what would you never want to do? Rub up against, stick a sharp elbow in the side of the various and varied countries that are responsible for perpetuating these very systems. So that's why if Sean Hannity or anybody ever got an indication or inclination to say, let's go a little bit deeper, that's when it started with Tucker. It has nothing to do with, well, he's a commie or a left. No. Follow the money, as they say.
Britain. It was published. It's known. So we are fighting again an organized gang called Empire of George Soros, NGOs, who are just supporting everybody who is transgressing our legal system and our regulation, and financing illegal activity against our nation. So this is why the story is not just about migration, but it's about how this European Union is working and how George Soros was able to captive the main positions inside many institutions of European Union, buying out MPs and other leaders. And in order to execute the plan which is written, and it's against all the Christian and nation-based political forces. It's against us. It's about how to change Europe and how to eliminate and push aside all the Christian, conservative, national-based political leaders and voters from the European Union decision-making bodies. So this is the migration about, not just about migration.
Now, do you hear this? You're going to hear this? Do you think, tell me where you would hear this. Were it not for internet streaming, X, YouTube, and others, where would you hear this? Nowhere. And they have finally come to the conclusion. I firmly and absolutely, truly, call me stupid, call me naive, call me whatever it is, I don't care. But I firmly believe that streaming platforms have said the experiment is over. It's over. We tried this. We shut everyone down. Elon came along and blew the lid off. When they released the Twitter files and they said, oh my God. When you saw that social media platforms were working as proxies, think about this. As representatives of, as apparatchiks for and of the, basically the shadow government, that was it. Yes or no? Yes or no? Are you noticing more talks about Fauci, CDC, now that Bobby Kennedy, think about this. Why do they want Bobby Kennedy nowhere near the governmental helms, so to speak? Reason why is when he's there, you get to bring back everything he said about autism and vaccines and about health and about GMOs. You understand this? When Bobby Kennedy was out there alone, just kind of out there, and he was doing his push-ups and, doing his thing and hanging around with Shmuley, didn't matter. He was an outlier. He was, but now that he is looking at and about to embark upon and assume a prominent position in the Trump administration, now he's fair game. And everything he has said is fair game, which means it's now reintroduced for the first time. And remember, 5 years to you and me may not mean anything, okay? But 5 years is over more than high school. This is from somebody who goes from 5 years to somebody who goes from, graduated from high school to graduated from college. Your life has changed. And they've said, I never heard this. How many times have you ever said to your children or your friend, they'll say, I never heard this before. You never heard this? Or you'll introduce a song. You say, this is great. Who's this? Oh, that's Carl Perkins, or this is called rockabilly. I never heard that. I know you didn't. Of course you didn't. Who's that? Oh, that's Gershwin. Who's that? That's Ella Fitzgerald. Who's that? That's Bill Monroe. Oh my God. I never knew that. And then you see, oh, that's where that came from. And I'd love to do a show where I take young, black and white, but young kids. You say, you like hip hop? Good. Let's go back a little bit. Keep going back to Deborah Harry. Go back to Cab Calloway. Go back to Gil Scott-Heron, one of my absolute favorites. The revolution will not be televised. Go back even further. Go back to Hank Snow. Go back to these two. If you want to hear wild singing, Danny Kaye, who supposedly was a comedian. Danny Kaye was the inspiration for George Carlin. My point is, ladies and gentlemen, is that what we're doing right now is, and listen to me carefully, because Bobby Kennedy is back. His thoughts are back. The discussions are back. How can these platforms still continue to crush private expression and private discussion regarding subjects that are verboten, which are now front and center as to those individual appointees considered? How can you say you can't say anything about Ukraine anymore when Ukraine's on the table? How can you say, I don't want to hear anything about vaccine denial when that's the issue? How can you talk about Bobby Kennedy and say, wait a minute, how can I not bring up a comment or an interview between Joe Scarborough, whose son apparently has Asperger's, and Bobby? It's interesting. You can see how old the subject is because Bobby's voice, this spasmodic dysphonia, which is it's not lethal, but his sister Carrie has it too. But you can tell how old this is. And you can see them talking about Joe Scarborough. He's questioning the connections between vaccines and autism as a father, the way Robert De Niro did. All of that was crushed, put into a vault, and sealed with concrete like Chernobyl. Never talked about again. That's it. If you mention it, you're done, you're finished, you're through. It's now part of the discussion. It's part of the consideration. It's going to be a part of they're going through it. People are saying, well, he's a conspiracy theorist. He believes that Wi-Fi causes cancer. Now we're going to talk about whether Wi-Fi causes cancer and throw in 5G while we're at it. He's going to be talking about the notion of whether certain forms of diseases are teratogenic via. Do you see what's happening here? Have you noticed this? Just tell me you have. Tell me you have. Just not. I know there's a lot of, I kind of look sometimes, I talk and I look and I want to see. Tell me you've noticed this. Tell me that you're saying, we're talking about it. New rules, as somebody says. That's all. I want you to notice these things. Let me also tell you something which is also critical, and I'm going to say this again to you, and I'm going to say it until you can't believe it. Something is going to happen, and I don't have privy to it, but when I talk about preparewithlionel.com, when I talk about 3-month emergency food kits and preparing for something, already we are talking about these ATACMS, these missile systems. If Russia decides to say, all right, that's enough, and Kyiv say goodbye, and not through a nuke or some tactical nuke, but some thermobaric, some monster, boom, some colossal bunker buster, probably a city buster. When that starts, when trade stops, when grain stops, when all of this stuff starts as fast as they can before January the 20th, this is what they're doing. Now's the time to watch. Also, listen to me. I hope I'm wrong. Dear God, whoever, let me be wrong. Don't be surprised if all of a sudden that dock strike, this is what I'm reading. They're sitting back and they're telling this guy talks like this, we're going to strangle you. All of the Democrats are going to say, now we're going to call in our chips and chits, so to speak. And you're going to do this now because you never settled the strike. You merely postponed the strike. This is why preparewithlionel.com. If you're not self-sufficient, if you don't have food, water, energy, ammo, and gold or something, just not because this is going to be the end of civilization, but could you go a week right now? We already have these stories about drones flying over Morris County, New Jersey. We don't know what anything is anymore. We don't know what's going to happen. Wait till the grid goes down. Wait till some little glitch. Wait till somebody does that old, remember that those suborbital North Korean. I remember one time I went to a lecture on this, on these nuclear warheads detonated, low radiation, low yield, but something that fries out the grid, something that gives us a Carrington class burnout. This is not science fiction. That's why I say this. Preparewithlionel.com. Go there and start building up your supplies now. And one more thing, I'm going to say this. What they did to Mike Lindell from My Pillow is still horrific. Horrific. Emphasis on the whore. How they tried to ruin this man. So Christmas is around the corner. Go to mypillow.com/Lionel or promo code Lionel and see what's there and make your holiday gift lister thrilled. I mean that. What they did to him is horrific. Absolutely. Now, let's go back to a couple of other things. We talked about today's subject from CNN to MSDNC to Joe and Mika. Liberal media are imploding as irrelevant. And also how Trump is laughing. We're going to be talking more about that. I want to talk about something else, which is horrible. Do you ever watch your local horror? Tell me when the last time you watched local news. Local news across the country is an abomination. It is so bad. It has devolved into, it used to kind of be interesting. And you would think that local is just so much easier to do. You can really get into the story. Tiffany Henyard is still in power. Tiffany Henyard. That's the greatest story ever. Local news is filled with the worst journalists of them all, scraping the barrel all over the country. They're there for, I guess, you used to go to local news so that your agent could send a reel, and maybe you could go to CNN. Maybe you could go to a big market. Maybe you could be the news woman, the part of the, I mean, this is an anachronism. You're going to tell your grandchildren, you don't understand. You're local. Did you have a local person in your area who was like the man? Roger Grimsby, and we had these New York people. In Tampa, we had, Hugh Smith, you got your locals, and you got the guy with the white hair or the woman. He lasted along, Chuck Scarborough. They've been there. You know what I mean? You every Channel 4 news. I remember years ago they had this. We're here for you. We're here for you. Channel 4, the NBC affiliate, had them. All these folks were painting houses, and I mean, it was so corny, but they were your friends. I remember they had one, might have been Channel 4, I think. They had a lot of budget. They would say things like, we're going to make sure that we give you the weather so that you know what to wear, And I'm thinking, this has never really been I kind of know. But this is the way they thought. Remember that feller? What is his name? That weird guy on Fox. Remember him? They booted him. He had a strange, I can see his name. He was there during the day. And I think he went to CNN or something. He left. And I just realized, there he is. He's gone. What was his, he looked, he was on Fox. He was on Fox. What was his name? He was a guy who he had a very, kind of an odd name. You can help me with this. I can see him now. He always had this weird delivery. Fox News. Here's what's going on. He thought it was so cool. And he left. Shepard Smith. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Tomcat. Shepard Smith. Where's Shepard Smith? You notice this? He's gone. Fox News, they booted so many people because of sexual. Oh my God, they cleaned up. I didn't even know what this was. Imagine you're making 40, 50, whatever $1 million, and you decide, I got to have that one now. I can't wait until I get off of the premises. Oh no, My favorite is this Jadrul who sent pictures of himself. Okay, I'm getting off course here. This is one of the best examples of something that you see all the time to show you how stupid local news is.
What's it look like out there?
Yeah, it looks like snow, just like I predicted in my forecast from the studio. I'm not sure why I'm out here literally looking around. It looks like snow. You could just take a video of it snowing and show that. Why do I have to be here to describe snowfall? It's pretty self-explanatory.
Seems like the cold has gotten you in an icy mood yourself, Ryan.
Okay, you know what, Shannon? I am in an icy mood, okay? Nice pun, by the way. All right, I was just standing out here for 20 minutes waiting for you guys to throw to me, and I was just, doing some thinking. I spent $120,000 on a degree and 4 years in college to come out here and look around and describe what I see. I literally learned that in kindergarten. I Spy. It makes zero sense. Also, you know what else I was thinking while we're at it? When it's like a nice day or sunny, you never send me out to the lake or to the pool for a live shot, but when there's a hurricane or snowing or a blizzard or a flood, send me out there. I'll cover it perfect.
I guess you have a point there, Ryan. We're looking at these reports, and the forecast doesn't look.
That's exactly, of course, that's not real, but the point is, I don't think it's real. It could be real, but this is where we are today. You don't understand. You don't understand. News has nothing to do with providing anything where you say, wow. We used to have an expression every day when I would do, which this was talk radio, but it was a different time. This was WABC when it was great. But at the end of every broadcast, I would turn to my news guy, not my news, my partner or whatever, and I'd say, well, fooled him again. And that was it. Fooled him again. This is why nobody knows anything. We are living in a world in New York City, which is in some respects, still the most incredible place. And there are people leaving. You've got the mayor who is indicted, who is now sidling up to President Trump, and he is saying, I'm going to work with you because you're going to pardon me. Then we have this hackneyed hack, Kathy Hochul, who wants to start congestion pricing so that the people who drive pay for the individuals who are in public transportation. But they'd have money for individuals on public transportations if you didn't keep sending all the goddamn money to house illegals and criminals and vagrants and degenerates, not all of them, but a whole bunch. Now, do you think and maybe the local news will be talking about that? No. Why? Because they're petrified. There are no jobs. If you lose this gig, if your job was to be a journalist and you're at KCOK in Sacramento and you lose that gig, that's it. That's it. So you're not going to say anything. No hits, no runs, no errors. And the best part about it, my favorite, this is a New York thing. There's this thing called the inner circle. An inner circle is a bunch of these hackneyed, hacks, ossified, otiose, concretized, anachronistic nothings who think they're cool. Did you hear what I said? They think they're cool and that they're stars. And that people know them, and that nobody knows who you are. And every year they put on a show, which they've done since, I don't know, like the 20s, who knows? That's about 13 to 15 hours in duration. I don't know how long this thing goes. They practice all year for this. It is the worst HR, like skit, like fraternity, garden club, HR, Christmas party skit you have ever seen in your life. It's horrible. And they bring out the mayor at the end, and he dresses up. Rudy Giuliani, one time dressed up as a woman. When it's normally in connection with the biggest Broadway show. He was doing, I think Victor Victoria was big. So Rudy dressed as a woman. Then the next one was Grease. He was on a motorcycle. If you've ever sat through this. Now, Broadway's dead. So we don't even know what the big story is. So anyway, it's dead. They don't know it. And it's like, you people are schmucks. You don't dig. You don't care. Your whole thing is just fool them again. Just give them just enough where they won't say, and nobody's watching this. Nobody. Do you know anybody who waits for 6 o'clock to get the weather? Do you know anybody? They don't even know this. Remember the time of day. Anybody old enough to remember the time of day? It used to be 555-1212 or something like that. And you would call up, and they were a bank sometimes. First at your bank at the tone, or maybe it's 2:35. Maybe they'll give you the weather. Remember that? That's how ridiculous this is. They don't understand it. If I ask these morons, why don't you do your man on the street, your MOS, this Vox Pop, go out and ask people, what do you think about the fact? What do you as a New Yorker feel? Because if anything's going to happen, you know what's going to hit the fan here. What do you think about Biden in the last moments of his administration, basically lifting the restrictions and arming American troops to go after Putin? What do you think is going to happen with that? Think anybody's interested in that? No. That's the biggest story there is. Why? Because they don't want to lose their job. Because they don't want to make waves. Okay, listen to this. Let me show you something. This is a young lady. Now watch this very quickly.
ChatGPT, the hypothetical question.
Now this is, I first of all, I say to her, God bless this young lady. God bless this young lady for her to even care about this subject matter. We need to also find younger people, young kids, who are interested, pull them out, call them. This is a young lady who apparently, I'm guessing, wants to deal with the issues, but doesn't want to look cutesy. The people that I know, who used to know in my group, so help me God, they wanted so much to go on TV to be, wait for it, sexy. Look at me. Here's my mug. Look, we're dancing. Here's behind the scenes. Let's take a picture of us on the set like this, where we do our coy voice. Aren't we great? Don't you love us? Don't you want to know us? No, I don't. Don't you love us? No. Don't you want to see? Do you want to see my script? No. Do you want to see how I'm all wired up? Do you want to see me in the makeup chair? No. Because you're not a star. You're not important to us. Oh, yes, I am. No, you're not. We don't care. Hey, I changed my glasses today. Who gives a shit? We don't care about that. Who are you? I'm a star. I'm on Facebook. Look, do you want to see me? Look, I'm having my lunch at my desk. Go away. No, you love me. I don't love you. I don't know who you are. Who are you, lady? I don't know who you are. I do the weather at the 5 o'clock. I don't know what? The weather? What's the weather? My favorite is the traffic. Okay, I digress. Listen to this young lady's brilliance and listen to her and how she needs to be celebrated.
So I asked ChatGPT the hypothetical question, if they were Satan and they wanted a world without white people in it, how would they do that? And how would they do it in a way that people wouldn't notice they're doing it? Got a really interesting answer. Could use a combination of subtle manipulation, cultural normalization, and social engineering to achieve my goal. Here are the 10 steps I would take. Step number 1 would be to infiltrate and influence key institutions. I would gain positions of power and influence in education, media, politics, and other crucial areas to shape the narrative and to mold public opinion. 2, I would promote multiculturalism and mass migration. What do you know? They would encourage the mixing of diverse cultures and populations to erode that race's sense of identity and unity. This would create confusion, resentment, and division among them. 3, I would normalize anti-white sentiment. I would subtly promote anti-white rhetoric and propaganda through media, entertainment, and academic circles to create an environment where expressing pro-white views is frowned upon. Or I would foster division and conflict. I would exploit existing divisions within the race, such as socioeconomic disparity.
Okay, let me stop just for 1 second, because as great as this is, and it is great, it's a little nerve-wracking. The point of this is that there are young people like this out there of all races and whatever, and dispositions and demographic strata, who are looking to make a difference and change things. And it's the most incredible thing in the world. They're looking to change things. And they are to be culled. They are to be pulled in and given platforms to stream, not to go to some stupid Channel 5 in Schenectady to do the health, whatever it is. It's dead. It's over. Not the information, but the platform. You know, people don't play musical chairs anymore. Maybe philosophically, maybe symbolically. So when you go to a party, we don't play musical chairs anymore. We just don't. I don't know why. It's over. News today is like musical chairs. It was great once when that's all we had. Now let's talk about Matt Gaetz. Why do they hate Matt Gaetz? Let me give you an example.
Either get this government back on our side, or we defund and get rid of, abolish the FBI, CDC, ATF, DOJ, every last one of them, if they do not come to heel.
That's why. If you told most people, do you think we could fire the CDC? Yeah. Or the FBI or the ATF? Yeah. Absolutely. I want to see more militias. I want to see militias. Now, let me also tell you something. Remember, one of the biggest mistakes they ever did, they should have caught and killed, catch and kill, Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson, they basically granted him this. He was the first one, this almost saint-like, deified, the apotheosis, the beatification, the elevation, the canonization, this star status that few people have enjoyed. Listen to what he says about what's going on as to the real story behind Matt Gaetz.
They leaked that he was a child sex trafficker. So at that point, they have a moral, I would say, legal obligation to charge him for child sex trafficking and prove it in court. And if they can't, shut the F up. But they didn't do that. They leaked that Matt Gaetz, a guy they didn't like, whose views were a threat to them, is a child sex trafficker. Then they just let it hang in the air, and all their repulsive little minions like Joe Scarborough, like, he's a child sex trafficker. Really? You want to live in a world where the secret police can just slander you through the media?
I read in my Bible this morning that you don't believe something unless 2 or 3 people are witnesses and say, and there is none of that. In fact, the weaponized Department of Justice said we don't have the proof to pursue these allegations.
I know.
They accuse it, they make the case, and then they say it should be known that Matt Gaetz denies that these allegations has occurred. Of course he denies it, because they're not true in the Department of Justice. There's no accounting of the fact that these things have been proven not to be true.
Now, let me explain something also to many, many folks who might have a difficult time in grasping it. This, what I'm going to show you now, is the issue, which I said, and I still say, is the biggest issue of them all. The biggest ever, that we cannot wait to get a hold of. But first, this word. Let me ask you a question. When's the last time you checked your devices for malware? Malware attacks have increased 643% since 2020, with approximately 10 million personal and corporate devices compromised with data stealing malware in just the last year alone. Additionally, 19.8% of computers face at least one malware attack annually. This emphasizes the critical need for individual users to protect themselves, their devices, and their data. This is why I use today's sponsor, Virtual Shield Antivirus Pro, and I love the peace of mind it gives me. Virtual Shield Antivirus Pro is an award-winning antivirus with real-time protection, malware removal, ad blocking, scheduled scans, multi-device protection, and more that stops malicious downloads in their tracks. Without Virtual Shield Antivirus Pro, I would risk my finances, banking details, personal data, and more getting into the hands of cyber criminals. Thanks again to Virtual Shield Antivirus Pro for sponsoring today's extravaganza. And do yourself a favor and sign up for a free 7-day free trial, of Virtual Shield Antivirus Pro during their early Black Friday sale happening now, and get up to 75% off. Yes, you heard that. Up to 75% off. Only at virtualshield.com/Lionel. Once again, that's virtualshield.com/Lionel. Around 2016, I don't know when this happened, but I remember all of a sudden, everybody was talking about men and women and their bathrooms. I don't know when this happened. I don't know what, but the point was why this was a deal. I have no earthly idea. Never was a problem before. Sometimes you go to a restaurant and they'll have the dress. I love that one. The little silhouette of the dress and the silhouette of the pants. And I'm thinking, I got to remember, what's that? People go, what's that? That's a dress. That's a dress. Anyway, so they'll have unisex, but one, so fine. Sometimes you'd be at a concert or a football game, and some poor woman would come in and have to use it. Look, it was no big deal. She goes into the stall, big deal. People are in and out. I don't hang around bathrooms. I don't hang around them. I don't know what's going on. I never check people out. It was never a big deal. Never. I'll tell you what I would do. I would absolutely, if I ran for office, I would mandate that there are as many stalls in bathrooms as there are, when I say man, I'm taking this into consideration, but as many stalls as there are stalls and urinals in men's rooms. Women, there's always a line. It is not fair. They need more time, they need more space, they need more whatever. This is a very serious thing. The relief, micturition, and other activities require, I think, a public accommodation, as much as guardrails and ramps and whatever it is. I don't understand why this is. Women are there's always a line. And the reason why is you don't have enough space. Okay? So if you want to talk about bathrooms, let's talk about this for women. Now, the next one is, who's a woman? If I walked in, by the way, women do not have a smaller bladder capacity. That's not true. That's ridiculous. People say this. No, it's not. In any event, stop. If I walk into a ladies' room right now, and I said, hi, how you doing? And you said, what are you doing here? I'm a woman. You would say, first of all, that's ridiculous. Get out of here. No, you don't understand. I'm a woman. Now, we all would say, you're not a woman. You're just a perv, and there's a little girl. No. Or I walk into the ladies' room. I'm at a gym, and I want to walk into the ladies' room. Hey, ladies, I'm a woman. You would say, this is ridiculous. Get out. Okay, so that's an extreme case that everybody would agree. This guy, he's just saying. Okay, what's the difference between what I just said and me putting on a wig? A bad wig. I look like Rachel Levine. Does that make any difference if I say, excuse me, I've got a wig on? What? I've got a wig on, so let me in. No, you're not going to. My little girl's in here. No. You know, I also find out, I don't know about you, but sometimes I've seen this, but I don't like, it's rare, but sometimes a father will be like with his daughter, he's got to go, and he brings a little girl into a men's room. But anyway, what are you going to do? We'll worry about that later. So anyway, Rachel Levine comes in and said, what are you? Hi, I'm Rachel Levine. No, you're not. You're a guy. No, I'm not. Okay, all right. Well, what am I supposed to do? I want to go in here because I'm a woman. Excuse me. I don't feel good about that. Why? Just because you got a wig and you change your name, excuse me, are you transphobic? I'm not transphobic. Are you normalphobic? Are you heterophobic or whatever it is? What are you doing? For in the name of God, I don't want this. Get out. You have no say. Do you hear what I just said? You have no say. This is where we went. This is where we were. This is the thing which absolutely blows my mind. How did this happen? Well, recently, there is a debate, as you know, that's going on right now on Capitol Hill, and I think it is critical. This is Representative Nancy Mace introduces a measure to ban men from women's bathrooms on Capitol Hill. Sarah McBride, who was the first trans member of Congress, blasted the attempt as far-right extremism. Now, you can read the resolution, and it's very interesting. Whereas prohibiting members, officers, and employees of the House from using single-sex facilities other than those corresponding to their biological sex and for other purposes. Whereas allowing biological males into single-sex facilities, such as restrooms, locker rooms, and changing rooms designed for women, jeopardizes the safety and dignity of members, officers, and employees of the House who are female. Now, therefore, it is resolved, this is a resolution. A member, delegate, resident, commissioner, officer, or employee of the House may not use a single-sex facility, including a restroom, changing room, or locker room in the Capitol or House office buildings, other than those corresponding to the biological sex of such individual. Now, how do you do this? I have no idea. Is this a big deal? Yes, it's a big deal. Yes. Yes. Because whether you like it or not, we have had it. Now, I have not had personally a problem with women coming in. It's this insanity. Okay? Now, if you think this is far right, this is left wing. Why this is a problem and how you're supposed to figure out who's who, I don't know. But here is Marjorie Taylor Greene, who for some particular reason has been rather quiet lately, and she answers this question very, very, I think, clearly.
For a resolution that keeps all biological men out of women's bathrooms, locker rooms, and private places, not only here in the Capitol complex, our office buildings, but all taxpayer-funded facilities.
How does one, I guess the logistics question will be, how does one check, like, if someone is qualified to use the ladies' room then? In that case, obviously there's a new openly transgender member of Congress.
Right, which is a man. He's a man. He's a biological male, so he is not allowed to use our women's restrooms, our women's gym, our locker rooms, and our spaces that are specified for women. He's a biological male. He has plenty of places he can go.
Okay. Yeah. And should they make gender neutral bathrooms? Logistics.
No, he can go in the men's room, and he has a bathroom in his office, just like all of us do. And that's where I use the restroom most of the time in my office. If he has a bathroom that'll be designated for him, but men need to respect our spaces. And that's what this election was all about. This was a mandate from the American people that are not only fed up with the open borders, they're fed up with inflation, they're fed up with the economy, but they're fed up with the left shoving their sick trans ideology down our throats and invading our spaces and our women's sports. So Sorry for the uncomfortable question, but I'm giving you the direct answer. The American people spoke at the election. They're sick of this shit. And so the new member of Congress that was voted into Congress on behalf of his district in Delaware needs to respect my space, my privacy, and other women's space and privacy because he is not a woman.
Okay, now let me ask you something. They say, well, how do you know? How do you inspect? And by the by, may I bring you, ladies in particular, up to speed on something? Nobody seems to care about this as much as I do, but I will, because it's something that I find important. Why do so many women still confuse vagina with vulva? Vulva is the global term that describes all of the structures that make the female external genitalia, the mons pubis, labia majora, labia minora, clitoris, vestibular bulbs, vulva vestibule, Bartholin's glands, Skene's glands, urethra, and introitus or introitus. You cannot see the vagina upon a casual inspection of the pudenda. So there was this meme that says, hi, just checking if you have a penis or a vagina. And this is a woman, this is this Grace looking underneath the stall. Now let me ask you this question. Ready for this? Okay. The question is, how do you check? How do you check and see whether somebody has a vulva or a penis, right? Let me ask this question. If I walk into a ladies' room now, like this, and they say, hey, get out of here. Excuse me. How do you know I'm not a woman? Get out of here. Have you inspected me? No, get out of here. Excuse me. How do you know I said get out? Where is there this problem? Do you think that if I decide all of a sudden I'm going to dress up like Rachel Levine, which I have a right to do, that everything the world has to just accommodate me? Is that it? Seriously, is that it? There are nothing, there are nothing but rules and regulations that we got. This is a non-issue. And I have been telling people the issue that drives us the most crazy, like peanut, like eating cats and dogs in Springfield, Ohio, maybe low-hanging fruit, maybe Sean Hannity stuff, but still it gets people's attention, is this idea of men competing against women. There are men and there are women. Now, here is the thing. You may call yourself anything you want. I do not necessarily have to accommodate it. I can call myself black. Rachel Dolezal tried that. They kicked her out of her NAACP position because they say you weren't black. If I were to join something or to ask, maybe this isn't government, but if I were to say, I want to join this particular Jewish organization. Are you Jewish? Well, what do you mean? Is your mother Jewish? Or, no. Have you ever? No. Well, I'm sorry, excuse me. How do you know I'm not Jewish? What? I mean, this is a non-issue. So what happens is, if you want to be a trans woman, please do. But here is the story. If 9 to 10 women in the ladies' room at the Short Hills Mall say, okay, there's a man in here, do they have no rights? Are we supposed to say, what? Are we supposed to say, listen, his, her, it, they, the rights outweighs yours? How many times have you ever been to it? Listen, restrooms, there's no right to this. How many times have you ever been someplace and they say, restrooms are only for employees of, don't come in here, don't use a restroom unless you're a customer. There's all these restrooms. Or you're at a mall and you're saying, where the hell is this? One time we're at this place called I'm not going to mention the mall, but it's the second largest mall in the country. And I swear to God, finding a John was like, what are you where is this thing? I mean, you couldn't, okay, this is life. I don't know what to tell you. This is an artificial concern that is meant to disrupt us, to destroy us, to push us apart. Now, I want to bring you up to speed on another matter too. I said I wouldn't do this, but I'm going to do it just because I want to make a point. I said I wouldn't mention Joe and Meager, but I do, because remember, they're actually getting what they wanted. They're actually getting what they wanted because they're in the news. They're in the news because they're a bunch of hypocritical rat bastards, and they're getting their. So this, by the way, may increase their viewership, which is what I told you. You get known not on your show, but on the internet. But I want to show you this just to give you an idea because of the hypocrisy of this. I have not watched this godforsaken show. President Trump is not going to give them the time of day. You want to talk? Talk to this, okay? But I want you to watch how, not these media people, but how two people can have no guts, no sense of rational thinking, no honor, no anything, how they could be so duplicitous as to even act like this. Watch this.
He says that the news network that is most critical of him should be taken off the air. This is not a reach. I could go back and talk about Nazi Germany, and I do.
Nazi Germany, the Godwin's principle, alive and well.
I do it without any concerns whatsoever. And if people can't start drawing the parallels, well, you're just stupid, or you.
Nazi Germany. You're stupid. If you don't see the connection between President Trump and Nazi Germany, you're stupid.
You have your head in the sand, or you're one of them.
Over the past week, Joe and I have heard from so many people, from political leaders to regular citizens, deeply dismayed by several of President-elect Trump's cabinet selections, and they are scared. Last Thursday, we expressed our own concerns on this broadcast and even said we would.
Listen how serious here on this broadcast. We let us know because why? Because, well, we think we're something.
Appreciate the opportunity to speak with the president-elect himself. On Friday, we were given the opportunity to do just that. Joe and I went to Mar-a-Lago to meet personally with President-elect Trump.
To suck up and kiss the ass of the president because we are two people who are about to be shit-canned permanently from this godforsaken two-bit set. We are living a fraud. My name is Mika Brzezinski, and I'm the daughter of Zbigniew Brzezinski, who had more brains in his stools than I have in my entire body. And I've been trying my best to try to justify myself up till now. I thought I was hot. I thought I was a babe. I thought marrying numbnuts over here with that weird thing on his head, whatever that bird's nest is, I thought it would elevate me to some kind of new status. Remember that picture of me sitting on a piano with my leg in the air? I really thought it mattered. I thought we were cool. I thought that when we were married, it would be the toast of the town. The New York Times would talk about it, that it would be like, oh my God, it would be Chuck and Diana all over again. Well, guess what? Nobody cares because I've had it. I'm over the hill. I don't even know what the hell I'm talking about. I one time tried to do a speaking engagement with Arianna Huffington, and two people showed up, me and Arianna Huffington. I'm a loser, a complete and total loser. And guess what? This guy next to me, he's got a lot of second thoughts about marrying me because I'm a pistol. Put it this way. If I'm this obnoxious on TV, imagine what I'm like at home when nobody's watching.
It was the first time we have seen him in 7 years.
Because he doesn't want to see you. He doesn't recognize you. He wouldn't, dare I say, micturate upon you if you were on fire. That's why his decision, not yours.
Now, we talked about a lot of issues, including abortion, mass deportation.
Oh, imagine that. Imagine how riveting. We want to talk about mass deportation with these two jadrools.
Threats of political retribution against political opponents and media outlets.
He didn't talk about retribution. He didn't. He never. I guarantee you he didn't. He is a liar.
Talked about that a good bit. And it's going to come as no surprise to anybody who watches this show.
No surprise. No. He has it's almost like a Philly accent. No surprise. By the way, Joe also can't do long A's. One time he said, and you know what they'll do? They're going to put him in jail. Put him in jail. Oh my God. For jail. Hey, listen, I'm not for sale. You're not for sale. He can't do long A's, and he does this kind of sing-song thing because, he's a jadrul.
Over the past year or over the past decade, that we didn't see eye to eye on a lot of issues.
Why? Because we're basically soulless. We have two people who realize this is it. This is it. We have sucked this teat dry. There is nothing to it. We even put on plagiarists. We put on every hackney. You name it. If you're on our show, it's over. We even had Donnie Deutsch. I don't even know what the hell Donnie Deutsch is talking about or who the hell Donnie Deutsch is. What we have to do is we have to spread it. We have guests that are like hamburger helper. They just spread it. You take some 2-bit ground beef and you put this crap in there to maybe stretch it to 3 or 4 because we have nothing to say. Look at this numbnuts to my right over here. This wife of mine over here, Meager, Zika. Nobody likes her. She still thinks she's a star.
And we told him so.
What we did agree on was to restart communications.
We didn't restart the communications. We're begging. We're on our knees. We're kissing his ass because you don't understand, honey. Let me say it again. I'm Meager. I'm Zika. They hate me. This is it. I don't care. I'll crawl over ground glass to kiss your ass and give you half an hour to draw a crowd. It doesn't matter. We have no soul. Look at this show we're on.
My father often spoke with world leaders with whom he and the United States profoundly disagreed.
Because he had to. And he, unlike you, was intelligent, and knew what the hell he was talking about.
That's a task shared by reporters and commentators alike. We had not spoken to President Trump since March of 2020.
I'm saying this again to let you know. We don't talk to him. Why? He won't have anything to do with us. He hates us. He hated us and still does. And you know why he let us on? You know why he's talking to us? So he can say, look at these two grovel. He loves that. Any pictures of this? Nope. Anything? Nope. I didn't see any. Maybe you did.
Other than a personal call Joe made to Trump on the morning after the attempt on his life in Butler, Pennsylvania.
Oh, then nothing meant more to the president. Nothing. After he missed death like this. By people who have been calling him Nazis, like Joe. By people, by the way, responsible for fueling this lunatic, by referring to President Trump as everything from Hitler to Mengele to Stalin to whatever it is, like Joe. So the guy who's been encouraging this kind of behavior, which basically almost ended in the president's life being snuffed, called him up. Big whoop.
In this meeting, President Trump was cheerful. He was upbeat. He seemed interested.
He's laughing his ass off at the spectacle of you two jadruls begging him. You didn't want to open up any kind of interest. Nobody, you want a gig, you want a job, you know it's over. Because you've got the same word that I do. That MSDNC is going to close up shop so fast it'll make your head spin. And if it probably earlier than CNN.
In finding common ground with Democrats on some of the most divisive issues.
That's bullshit.
And for those asking why we would go speak to the president-elect.
Get ready for this one.
During such fraught times, especially between us, I guess I would ask back, why wouldn't we?
Why wouldn't we? Why wouldn't we when we're two has-been losers on the back nine of life who have absolutely nothing to do? Let me repeat this. If this gig goes bye-bye, if for some reason somebody says, we've had enough of this, or if Trump picks up the phone or says, you know what, do me a favor, shit can these two. Maybe there's a deal, maybe some regulatory thing, something that's going up the chain, Comcast. They say, you know what, do me a favor, like they did to Tucker Carlson. Don't forget that. That was part of that litigation at the time. And one of the deals, I don't know, I wouldn't be surprised, is to get rid of Tucker. Okay? So this is the best one. I wish he'd just come out and say, why did we meet with him? Because we're desperate.
5 years of political warfare has deeply divided Washington and the country. We have been as clear as we know how in expressing our deep concerns about President Trump's actions and words.
Not concerns. You hated him. Hey, numbnuts. You called him Hitler. You were saying he's a Nazi. What are you talking about? I mean, if I say there's a difference between me saying, I disagree with you, and me calling you some syphilitic termagant, you'd say, what? Well, I'm just merely, expressing. No, you're not. You're being vile. You're being extremely discourteous. You're actually, you're encouraging this. And remember, what this is right now is desperation 101.
In the coarsening of public debate. But for nearly 80 million Americans, election denialism, public trials, and January 6th were not as important as the issues.
You hear what they said? Did you see what she said? Denialism, January 6th, she's sticking it to him. She's basically saying, and for some particular reason, the fact that you were the mastermind and architect of an insurrection, and she just did, that's it. That's over with. Right there. You killed it. Joe, you should have read the copy because they're reading this off a prompter. She just did it. She just did it again. She doesn't even know how to be gracious. Why? She's an idiot. After all, she married you.
That moved them to send Donald Trump back to the White House with their vote.
Unbelievable.
Joe and I realize it's time to do something different. And
like beg for your job.
That starts with not only talking about Donald Trump, but also talking with him.
Utter, unmitigated horseshit. President Trump, you know what to do. You're going to have somebody call Comcast. You're going to have, something's going to come up. Somebody, Elon Musk, when you've got the richest man in the world eating filet of fish and whatever it is with you on the plane, when you've got him, one call, and only if somebody sees them pack their little box and get the hell out. Maybe they can start their own, whatever, to feel what being deplatformed means. Oh, this is absolute, sheer, and utter madness. This is just, I guarantee you, let me tell you something. And I swear to God, I would say I would rather be basically put up against a wall than for me, after what I said, I've got to go in front of everybody and lose my soul by begging. No way. I've got principles. I've got couth. I've got something. Not these people. They're despicable. You got that? And one more thing. This is why Mr. Homan is my hero.
People have wondered, how is this going to work? So how will it work?
Well, look, I think the president's been clear on the stage. As far as the deportation operation, we will prioritize public safety threats and national security threats because they pose the biggest danger to the United States. He's got three rails. So we'll do the deportation operation with the priorities I just talked to you out of the gate. That'd be the priorities. Second thing is secure that border.
By the way, Tom needs to work a little on the pronunciation. Just a little bit. I love the guy, but sometimes I think some of the points are missed via muddled clarity.
Lock that border down and catch and release and secure the border. The third rail is we got over 300,000 missing children.
Listen to this: 300,000 missed children.
Over 500,000 children have been trafficked into the United States.
500,000 children trafficked into the United States. You hear this? Slow it down, Tom.
Administration released them to unvetted sponsors, and they can't find 300,000
unvetted sponsors.
100,000. And based on my 3.5 decades, some of these children are in forced labor. We already found some in forced labor. Some are in forced sex trafficking. Some are living with pedophiles. We need to save these children. So that's going to be the third rail.
But
see, this is the beautiful part. So what's this jadrul from Fox? That's the issue. Why isn't people scaring? Look, let me just explain something to you. You know and I know what's going on. This is a new world right now. This is a new everything. This is a new everything. Everything is changed. Everything. And you haven't even begun to see how things are changing. And what are the mainstream media telling you? Oh, it's terrible in DC. There's so many problems regarding Elon. He's too close. Nonsense. Oh, Matt Gaetz. A lot of people are threatening to quit. Quit! How many times have you heard this? All of these lefties, people are leaving the New York Times. Go ahead and leave. well, people are quitting, whatever. Go ahead and leave. People are, go ahead. Go ahead. What is that? Is that a threat? You're going to leave the Department of Justice because of what? Go ahead. Do you know how many great people are saying, I'll work there? Remember, the Department of Justice is run by the Attorney General, specifically Merrick Garland. Do I have to say anything more about that? And they're going to unleash and unload on Matt Gaetz like you can't believe. Bring it on. So the good news, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, is that we're here. And the president knows what's going on, and he is laughing his arse off. And the only reason I bring these two miserable has-beens is the fact that this is what he's going through. They have no soul. If you truly believed that President Trump was Hitler, you would go back to seek common ground, Joe, or Joe, as you would say. You seriously, you want common ground with Hitler? I don't believe so. Because what you say is meaningless. You'll say whatever you have to say, like that idiot, Donnie Deutsch, who, whatever's the matter with him, I hope medical science works overtime to stop it, because other people most probably suffer from that disease. This is it. So the good news, friends, we have so much to be happy about. So much. And Raul and Evan, thank you so much today for your absolute incredible beneficence. I appreciate that. Please make sure you follow Lionel Nation. Follow Mrs. L at Lynn's Warriors. And in particular, let me bring you up to speed on one thing, which is really, really, really important. If you have not seen or been a part of this incredible, you have got to see. Here's her latest, by the way, her latest interview with attorney Ariel Mitchell. This woman has been everywhere. She has a story, her own personal story, which is incredible, but also her involvement with Diddy and representing a whole slew. We're not done with Diddy yet. And this is her. Hang on, let me get this. Just 1 second here. Get the link. There we go. Let me put this here. This is it right now. Go. I'm going to put the link right here. Go and see this. This is an incredible interview. And subscribe to Lynn's Warriors. Cut up. Chatter says, I told you so. Phrase. Sweet agony. I told you so. Phrase. Sweet agony. Don't know what that means, but thank you. All right, my friends. That's it. 1 hour, 27 minutes. I hope you feel good. Remember, ignore cable news. Just kind of get an idea, a little bit of a brief, like when you look down over a state like, oh, that's Indiana. Huh? That's it. They're going to be saying everything and anything. They're going to, no. We won. And that's it. You have a great and a glorious day. Have a wonderful, oh yeah, good question. Where's Oprah? Where are all these people? We don't know where these people are. All right, my friends, have a great and glorious day. See you later. And don't forget, until then, we always end with this valedictory, this adios, this sayonara. Remember, hang on a minute. Oh, hang on. Evan Webb says, expect a new email. You missed my chat. Oh, God, hang on now. Whoa, bit. Here we go. Evan says, you will get to say, I told you so. You may need shortwave. Do we expect people to change? Yes, I have one friend still waiting for the 6 p.m. news. I'm sure you do. I am sure you do. And I have people who, and I've got friends with the sad part is, oh, and by the way, Scott Ritter's possibility of World War III is daunting. You're right about that. But I got to tell you one thing too. Remember, I've got people, friends of mine, who are in the business, who are actually in the business, still the news, and they don't understand it. One in particular, award-winning, and he doesn't know anything. I mean, nothing. Absolutely nothing. They're like the Sergeant Schultz station. In any event, have a great day. Evan, thank you for for your perspicacity and your noticeable tumescence. And that's a weird joke. All right, my friends. See you later. Don't forget, the monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue you. Dad.